Hello, JP.
Hi TY, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Well, today, everyone, we're going across the waters again and listen. Some of these conversations might surprise you. America and Nigeria may be worlds apart, but when you really break things down, we struggle, love, laugh, and survive in ways that are more connected than people think. So, today, we're going to be talking about Nigeria versus America. Who really has it harder? So, I think this is going to be a very interesting topic. I think it'll be funny, it could be emotional, and even thought provoking. So, let's get started here. So, the number one thing, which is so easy to talk about, is electricity and the infrastructure differences. So we talked about this in a earlier podcast, but we dedicated it specifically to that. But we're just talking about a few things. We're not going real deep into it. So over here in America, we have 24 hours electricity. The only time you don't have 24 hours is if you don't pay your bill or if there is a storm and it knocks the power out, and then the electric company is working to get it back on. What about there?
Okay, when it comes to electricity here in Nigeria, it's very bad. The experience is bad because sometimes they bring the light and they take the light. You don't want to you don't want to experience the fact that they take light every single minute, and we don't have 24 hours electricity. We don't. So people run on generators most of the time. So electricity is not. The electricity is very poor here in Nigeria.
Wow. Um, that's can you imagine? So, okay, inflation and food costs. Well, we go through periods of inflation and how food prices rises. Sometimes it can, when the inflation of things rise, people get a increase in their pay. It's not always like that, but it can sometimes work out like that. So, inflation, when it rises, the food does go up, but sometimes people in their pay, they will get a raise in order to help with the inflation. It's not always, but sometimes it is. What about over there? Hello, JP. What happens over there with inflation and food costs?
Sometimes the inflation goes up and sometimes it comes down. So depending, and food prices are not prices are okay. I don't think that's not an issue. There are food.
Okay. Um, what about what about the mental health and loneliness over there? I could say over here, mental health, that's been a big going thing over here in the States where they're talking about mental health and people's well being. and loneliness in America. I well, um, I think where they're coming from with that is because people are so busy. They're just like everybody is working, and now people have the opportunity to work in their homes. So that can further isolate you when you're working in your home, because you're not going out and you're working in a office setting where you get to see other coworkers, other people, conversations. When you're working from home, a lot of times you are not, I mean, it's just you and your computer. And you may meet up with your coworkers maybe in a Zoom call, or you might have to go into the office maybe once or twice a week or something like that. And so it just further isolates you. So you have to really purpose to know your neighbors and to in conversation, because most people, I mean, you can drive out of your garage, just wave at your neighbors. If they are outside, go off to where you're going, then come back in and drive right back into your house, basically into your garage. Shut the door, and you don't have to talk to your neighbors. So things are definitely, I think, different nowadays, that to where you have to more purposely try to get out to meet people, because people are just kind of staying to themselves. And in that sense, it can bring about a loneliness, isolation. And we're made to be in community with one another, not to be by ourselves. And so, your mental health, just like your physical health, if you don't exercise your body, your physical health can decline. If you don't eat right, it can help in your physical health. And same way with your mental health. If you don't be around people, if you don't have communication and just all that, it can mess with your mental health. So how is it in Nigeria?
All right, thank you very much. I think it's a world problem at large because in today's world, people are tend to more, very more careful, on whom they share things with, because as people are, most people are now getting more selfish when it comes to, coming together, because um, with the things that we see almost every day, the things that happen around the world, people tend to protect their space, their family, their mental health, So due to social media, most people just go on social media and scroll and laugh and, entertain themselves. So people are not interacting with each other again. So I think social media is one of the reasons why there are more loneliness in today's world. Why? Because people has been conditioned, and even with the AI too, it's going to get more worse. People now tend to, comic, like stay on their own. If you look at the newer generation that are coming, they don't even know how to communicate with each other. They don't know how to interact with each other. You can see five children sitting down. They are all on their phone. They're not talking to each other. They are not playing. Not like when we were small. You can go inside the rain, you play, you play with your friends, you play footballs inside the rain. We interact with each other, we read books together, we play games together. There are no what can I put? There are no social media then, there are no internet. You only go on your computer and want to, like, learn how to type and all that, and that enhance your brain. But in today's world, it is social media versus remote job, and people are now being selfish. So a lot of people are trying to protect their space. You see some neighbors, you tend to like disclose your issue with them, they take it out there. They spread things that you're meant to be private, they spread it. And because of stuff like that, people tend to keep things to themselves. So everybody is now protecting their space. And what does this thing cause? It actually causes the loneliness, like you said. So, bust down to Nigeria here. The same thing is happening, like places in Abuja, Lagos, because now people are more focused on work rather than communicating with each other. But it's still quite easy because most people are unemployed, so they go around to make friends and talk. They have still time to talk. You go to church, you have someone to talk to. you know but the social media of a thing is still affecting most people, because out of 100, 60% of the people are still social. They still talk to each other. So you greet your neighbor. In Nigeria, you can greet your neighbor, you can say hi, but not like before. In Nigeria, before, you can go to your neighbor's house and eat. But nowadays, people are more suspicious of each other. People are guiding their mental health, spiritual. People are, trying to protect themselves because of the things that we've been seeing that is happening around in the society. How people betray people, how people sells people information, how people mock people, and how people try to compete with each other, and all these things. It's causing loneliness. It's causing more and more people to lose trust in people, and to make friend is getting harder, because the generations that actually play without social media now, they are lonely, because you can't even communicate with the younger generations that are built up with AI and social media. They don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to socialize. The only way they can socialize is through social media, read and laugh and all that. They don't even read books. So I think loneliness too is something that needs to be addressed, across the world. But when it comes to Nigeria, I think 60% of the people are still social, and you still see your friend, your neighbors, and greet them. Don't see you, they greet you. Places like Abuja, your friend, your neighbor greets you. But more people are now getting comfortable being by themselves, because of everybody is trying to protect their space. So in Nigeria, I mean, loneliness is, like I said, loneliness is a thing of, a general thing. So, and the causes of it is what I've mentioned: social media and AI. Thank you.
Yeah, that's wow. Yeah. Um I just kind of wanted to add to that, also how, I hope I can remember what I was wanting to say. Um so like over here when it comes to like uh like the socialization, like what you were mentioning. Oh, I know what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, that's why I think podcasts and everybody's opening up a YouTube channel, how that has helped. If YouTube went blank for a day, yet alone if YouTube was not there, like YouTube, TikTok, all these different things, if they were not there, I wonder what would society do, because we get everything from YouTube. We get the news from YouTube. We get just so much that we get from YouTube, and how we communicate with one another. And so it's like all these different technologies, and it's only going to continue to advance, and like AI and we got WhatsApp, all these different tools. I mean, look at this advancement, how it's allowing us across the waters to talk and communicate. So AI and other things, they are, some people feel some kind of way about it, but this is the thing. If we realize that it is only a tool that can help us advance things quicker, but don't check your brain out, you tell it what you want, then AI can be a very good tool. Like if you're writing a book, you tell AI what the book is about, you put in the information, and then AI can quickly put it together for you. So that's the thing, just how you use it, and know that you seek God first, and then secondly using the tools to help you maybe put an outline together or do this or do that. It's not that you seek out AI first or you put it above prayer or above, other things. So I do think the that I don't think things will go back to the way they were in our days and times. That it's not like we're old, but I think that we have to just be wise, like our kids, like the generation of our just the generation of the kids now. They they to try to take technology away from them will probably be almost very impossible, but you have to monitor. You can't let your kids be on the electronics all day. Monitor it, and so do what you can to try to bring a balance to it. But that is so true what you mentioned about just how things are similar over there and in the States. So let's go on to the next one. So, what do you think are the pressures on men in both countries? So, what do you think are the pressures in men have over in your country?
Hello? Okay. So, pressure on men is due to so many reasons. Economy is one of the reason why men their wife. So this uh excuse me. So this things that causes pressure to men in the society. So men tend to carry more responsibility in Nigeria when it compared to women. Men carries a lot of loads. Getting married, they expect to provide for their families. They expect to give all their best for their family. Everybody depends on them, and it's most times it's become so much pressure on man that nobody actually don't want to talk about. So there are more pressure on men, especially in place like Nigeria. Are you there?
Yes. So you would say it's the women, sometimes the wives, that can cause pressure on the men.
No, I didn't say the wife causes pressure on the man. I said in general, men tend to cater for a lot of people, family, their wife, their children, relatives. So the pressure is on man most of the time. I'm not saying the woman, I mean the women are the one who causes pressure for men. Understand? But most, yeah, sometimes you depends on the person, the kind of spouse that you get married to. They can expect more for a lot from you while doing nothing. So that too can cause stress for a man. So depending, but most pressure is coming for a man having to provide everything for the family and to see that everybody's good because everybody look up to the man. And traditionally, that's how most African Nigerian men are being raised, to be responsible to their families.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think you covered it both for both countries. I think that's pretty universal. So the next one is America really the dream? Now, I'm not trying to be biased because of being from the States, but I want to say yes in many ways. And that's why I think that America has been targeted. And I'm not saying other countries haven't either, but America is a very unique place. And those who are born naturally in this country, I believe we have a big responsibility because we have been blessed. Not to say that other countries are not blessed. I don't want anyone to get rattled over that. But America is particularly unique because it's actually made up of, it's like, I don't know if you've heard of the term, it's a melting pot. And what that means is that people from all over the world, different ethnicities, different countries, etc. They come to America and we all melt together for what it stands for: freedom, liberty. Um, you can some people still do call it that, like, wow, if they can get to America, they know that their dreams can come true, their reality can come true. And especially immigrants from other countries, and it's so true. And that is what has been attacked by some of these other radicals, like some other countries, I'll just say it like that, that they want to leave their country and come to America and trying to change America to be like the country they left. It makes no sense. If you don't want to come together and enjoy the freedom, the liberty, all of that, then don't come to America. If you want to stay in your place where maybe it's a dictator, maybe they have certain rules and that you have to follow, and so forth, then stay in your country. But those who want to have the freedom, like some countries, they force you to worship a certain religion. Some countries, they force the women to have to dress a certain way. In some countries, and you go forth, mentioning other things, but over here, you have the freedom to worship how you want, as you like, as long as you're not pressuring no one else. You have the freedom of speech to express your dislike. You can protest in a safe way, and so many things. If you work hard, you get paid what you're worth. It's not like, oh, everybody gets paid the same thing no matter what. No, if you work hard and you excel at what it is that you do, then you get paid accordingly. You can over here, if you want to, this is the one place where if you were born poor, you can live rich. You can, if you have an idea, you can work at that thing and get it developed and go from there. So many things. And so that is one of the things that when I think, I guess if you were to say the American dream, because I grew up here, I kind of had one perspective about it. But as I have grown, I'm like, okay, um, wow, I can be and do whatever it is that I want to do if I put my mind to it and study and etc. I can do it. So that I would say is America the dream? And I would say yes.
That's beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, and I'll just say this, and that's why it's no excuse. A person that is born over here, um, even if I mean, that's why you hear about so many success stories of people. They maybe were born in a poor family or whatever the case may be, and then they were like, I want to change my story. And so they worked hard and then they became what they became. And so that is what I think any country should be toward its people, not oppressing them, keeping them down for what? But to help encourage them, to help in how if they want to start businesses, if they want to venture into entrepreneurship or whatever the case may be. So, okay. Well, so now I want to we come to the section of questions to ask each other. So, JP, what do people in your country complain about the most?
Uh, what people complain about the most is the bad leadership, bad government, because that controls everything that we do, you know, from road infrastructure, hospital, um, yeah, medication, um, electricity, everything. The government controls almost everything. So people complain about bad leadership. So if they believe that if there is a good leadership, everything will be well in place because the people are resourceful and the country is blessed. But we just have a bad leaders who are wasters, and they are not they are not they are not literate in terms of doing good things that enhance the development of their nation or their people. You know, so these are the things that people complains about most, like bad leadership.
Okay. Um, what do people over here at the moment? What people are complaining about is the economy. They are complaining about how gas prices are rising and things of that nature. So that is what people in the country are complaining about at this time. So, what's harder emotionally about living where you are? What's harder emotionally about living where you are?
Okay. Yeah. Let me answer that question due to my own understanding. Emotionally, things that are harder is knowing that you have the ability to work, but there are no jobs that pay you well enough. And at the same time, there are no jobs that can pay you what you work for. It's like you work and you are being paid penny. You are being paid penny for a lot of work. So sometimes emotionally it's drain people. So that those are one of the things that are harder in Nigeria, knowing that you have the ability to work, but there are no job, and sometimes when you come across jobs, those job doesn't even do much because the payment doesn't even do much to you. So that emotionally it's drain, it's affect people in my country.
Okay. Would you rather have opportunity or community?
We have the community, so we have it every time. But you see, opportunity is what we don't have. So, and that's the reason why you see most Nigerians like to travel abroad because they're looking for opportunity elsewhere. And when they see opportunity, they jump into it because they are hardworking people. So, I'll choose opportunity. Hello?
I'm just listening, just thinking about what you said. That is wow. Hmm. So, what's harder emotionally about living where you are? Hmm. I think you said it. I think what you said could go for both places. So, I don't want to kind of be repetitive with that. So, I think you answered it quite well. But would you rather have opportunity or community? I think I would rather have community because if you have community, it can develop into opportunity. And community, I think, can go even further because it can far reach into other areas. So I would personally rather have community. Okay, let's go on to something, another one. What's one thing your country gets right? So I like that question because we can always talk about the negative, what's wrong, but what's one thing, just one thing that you can say your country gets right?
Okay, one thing that my country gets right is that people are self-sufficient. Like they tend to like do things for themselves because they know the government is not coming for them. So they and yeah, people are self-sufficient. I think that's one of the things they get right. And religious wise, they've been holding on to God for a very long time, and that has helped them. So yeah, when it comes to religion, like being for someone like me who is a Christian, so being a Christian, you see people have been holding on to God for a long time. So I think they get that right. So that has been part of the reason why we keep moving forward.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
good.
that would keep moving forward despite all the challenges we face in the country.
Okay. One thing that over here, let me see if they get right. I would say, um, the freedom of liberty, the freedom to be able to express yourself. Now, some might say, oh, it's better to have these strict rules and this and that. But I would say having the liberty. There are people who are going to take advantage of that. And when they go outside, the laws and etc., because every country you have to have laws or sin would just abound terribly. There would be chaos. But I do like that what this country gets is the freedom of speech and to be able to express yourself. Um, and I like and I think that's I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing. Um, okay. What is okay? This is a quick one. Um, is happiness easier in Nigeria or America? What do you think?
Well, I haven't lived in America before, and I've lived in Nigeria. I think happiness is happiness, depending on what you call happiness. Happiness is a temporary thing, and it depends on what you're doing and how content you are that gives you happiness. You can have happiness because you feel like God is just doing well for you, or maybe your business is doing well and you are happy. So happiness is a temporary thing and it can come from different things. So it's not necessarily from where you are. So I know I've not been in America, but apparently there are going to be people who are in America who are not happy, and there are people who are in Nigeria who are there are apparently there are going to be people in Nigeria too who are not happy. So I feel like happiness is personal thing, is what you feel and how you want. Nothing and nobody can make you happy. And even if something makes you happy, that thing makes you happy temporarily, but you can happy when are you are grateful. So I think gratitude is just happiness. What brings happiness when when you are grateful all the time. So this brings happiness to you. So happiness and joy are not the same, but with you talking about happiness here, so I'm not going to make mention of any other thing than happiness. So happiness comes from within, and for Nigerians, yeah, people can be happy, but depending on, what makes them happy. And in America, I've not been there before. They're going to be happy people and they're going to be sad people. So I think it's just the nature.
That's very good. Happiness is what's happening at the moment. Like it is temporary. That is true. Um and I was going to say it is proven scientifically that the sun, that when you are in an area that gets sun all the time, that it actually gives off a chemical that makes you happy. But and so some people say over in Africa that the reason why the people are so happy because they got all this this happy chemicals, happy stuff. But even with that being the case, there are still some people that unfortunately they find themselves very unhappy. And so yeah. So happiness is neither there or here. It's based on a lot of it is what is happening at the time, regardless. So that's a good one. The last one, what would surprise outsiders about daily life there? Um, if I can start first, what would surprise outsiders about daily life here? I think that people who are not from here, they wouldn't realize how to meet people. You definitely have to be intentional for the most part, because people are just so busy. Depending on what state you live in, particularly, like if you live in New York, you see thousands of people, but those people are not talking to each other. They're busy rushing to the next thing. I mean, it's so crowded, but yet you can be so lonely because people are just, they're hustling, they're working, they're trying to get to the next whatever. So that is something that would probably surprise people, of just how much, like, you really don't know people, even when you're like your next door neighbors. You can be so close if you see some of the neighborhoods and you see how the houses are kind of so close together, and yet you don't even really know your neighbor, yet alone you may not even know their name, and yet you live that close and can live for years. I'm experiencing that. My neighbors, I know, um, I know them to a degree, but there's a big degree I don't know them. And yet we've been living by each other for some years. And so that is something that I think an outsider might be surprised about. What about over there?
Yeah, I think it's the same.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. Okay. So now we're going to get to a fun segment. So the fun segment is, we both, JP and I, we both are going to choose one, and one of them. And basically, okay, this is how I'm going to modify it. So basically, I'm going to mention something, uh, and you you kind of can go from there. So let's test it out. Um, oh, okay. Sorry, everyone. Something just was really funny. Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna pick one, and that'll be it. So, Nigerian weddings or American weddings?
Both.
Okay, I would pick Nigerian wedding, because I really like how the music, the dancing, the spraying of money. I think that's really cool. That's really uh different. Okay, so with that being said, we are going to maybe pick up on this topic in another segment. But if you have any questions that you would like to ask us, if there are any questions about this live, please leave a comment in the comment section, and we will definitely read it and we will comment on it as well. And also, please remember to like, share this video, and subscribe if you haven't already, so that we can grow and others can also be a part of our growing community. So, as always, until next time, take care, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. Bye.